The silent pain of a mother's heart. Every mother carries within her a strength that is unmatched, a love that has no boundaries, and a patience that seems endless. From the very moment life began inside of you, your world changed. You nurtured, you prayed, you dreamed of a future where your children would rise and shine, carrying forward the values and sacrifices you instilled in them. You endured sleepless nights, countless worries, and sacrifices that no one else could ever measure. And yet, one of the greatest pains a mother can feel is when those very children grow blind to her love, deaf to her guidance, and ungrateful for the sacrifices she has made. It's not just about them forgetting to say thank you. It's about the silence that echoes when you needed a word of kindness. It's about the indifference in their actions when you gave everything you had. It's about realizing that the people you poured your life into may sometimes take your presence for granted, as if your love were just another ordinary thing in this world. That realization cuts deep. It doesn't wound the body, it wounds the soul. You see, mothers often carry their pain in silence. They rarely speak of the disappointments, the loneliness, or the longing to feel valued, because their nature is to protect, to nurture, and to endure. But deep down, there is a quiet ache, a question whispered in the heart. Don't they see me? Don't they realize what I've given up for them? And when that recognition doesn't come, it feels as though the very foundation of love is shaking. But here is the truth you must remember. Your worth is not tied to the recognition of your children. Yes, it is natural to desire love and honor from them. Yes, it is natural to expect that those who received so much from you would at least acknowledge your sacrifices. But even when they don't, your value does not diminish. Your love, is sacred because it is given freely, without condition, without demand. That is what makes it divine. Think about this. God himself loves humanity with a boundless love, yet how often do people fail to acknowledge him? How often do people ignore his gifts, misuse his blessings, and turn away from his care? Yet his love does not stop, his nature does not change. And in the same way, your love as a mother is a reflection of that divine love. Even if your children fail to recognize it today, it doesn't erase the truth of who you are and what you have given. The pain of feeling undervalued is real, but it is also a call to remember that your identity is not built on their approval. You are more than what they see, and you are more than what they fail to see. Your worth is eternal, and your sacrifices have already been recorded in the unseen realms. You are not invisible, even when your children overlook you. Heaven sees, God sees, and that is enough to remind you that your love is never wasted, and your pain is never in vain. The test of love without recognition. Life has a mysterious way of testing the depth of our love. For mothers, one of the hardest tests is loving without being recognized, appreciated, or honored in return. When your children fail to value you, it feels like a betrayal of the deepest bond. You gave them life, you nurtured their first steps, you wiped away their tears, and you carried burdens they never even knew about. Yet sometimes, those same children grow distant, distracted, or ungrateful, and it feels like all of your sacrifices vanished into thin air. But here is the truth. This painful season is not meaningless. It is not a punishment. It is a divine test. It is God's way of refining your love, showing you the difference between love that is conditional and love that is eternal. Anyone can love when it's easy, when it's acknowledged, when it's rewarded. But the truest, most powerful form of love is the one that remains steady even when it is ignored. That is the love of a mother, and even more, the love of God flowing through a mother's heart. Think of this. Every prayer you whispered for your children, even when they hurt you, was heard in heaven. Every act of kindness you extended, even when it was met with silence, was seen by the Creator. No tear you shed was ever wasted. You are not invisible, even when your children overlook you. The world may not see the depth of your sacrifices, but heaven does. And that is why this test is sacred. It is building within you a strength and a patience that cannot be broken by human rejection. Sometimes, God allows mothers to walk through this valley so they can learn to anchor their love not in temporary appreciation, but in divine recognition. Because if your love is dependent only on your children's gratitude, what happens when they fail? Your spirit will be crushed. But if your love is rooted in God, it becomes unshakable, and you learn to give, not for applause, not for acknowledgement, but because it is who you are. It is the nature of your soul. And do not think for a moment that your love is wasted on ungrateful hearts. Seeds take time to grow. Children may not see your sacrifices now, but one day, life will open their eyes. One day, they will face challenges that remind them of the foundation you laid. One day, they will remember the prayers you prayed, the nights you stayed awake, the lessons you taught. Your love is not lost. It is planted deep within them, waiting for the right season to bloom. So if today you feel unseen, know this: God sees you. If you feel unappreciated, know this: heaven celebrates you. If you feel undervalued, know this: your worth is greater than gold. This test is not meant to break you. It is meant to awaken you to a higher truth. Love without recognition is not weakness. It is divine strength. And when you stand in that truth, no lack of gratitude can take away the power of your love. Detaching without bitterness. One of the greatest challenges a mother faces is learning how to let go without letting her heart turn cold. It is natural to want recognition from your children, natural to want their gratitude, respect, and love. But sometimes the very people you poured your soul into may not return that love in the way you expect. And when that happens, many mothers carry the weight of disappointment inside them like a hidden wound. Yet here is the truth. You cannot let their lack of appreciation poison your spirit. You cannot allow their choices to create bitterness within your heart. Detaching does not mean you stop loving. It does not mean you stop caring. It means you learn to release the need for validation from those who may not be ready or willing to give it. It means you continue to give love, but you stop allowing their response or lack of response to define your worth. You see, the moment you attach your self-value to how your children treat you, you give away your power. And God never intended for you to be defined by anyone's approval. Detachment is not rejection, it is protection. It protects your peace, your spirit, and your soul. Because bitterness is a silent destroyer. When a mother's heart grows bitter, it not only affects her, it affects everyone around her. But when she learns to detach in wisdom, she keeps her love pure, her prayers powerful, and her dignity intact. Think about this. When you hold too tightly to someone who doesn't value you, you end up draining yourself. But when you step back, you give them space to realize what they are missing. Sometimes it is only in absence that people learn to see the value of what they had. Children may not always appreciate your sacrifices while they are happening, but with time and distance, they often come to realize how much you gave. Your quiet strength, your calm detachment becomes a home wall. Mirror that makes them reflect on their own behavior. Detaching also allows you to focus on your own growth. Instead of pouring all of your energy into waiting for their gratitude, you can redirect that energy into prayer, self-care, and building the life God still has for you. You can love them without losing yourself. You can pray for them without being consumed by their choices. You can be present without being dependent. That is the beauty of detachment. It gives you freedom. Remember, forgiveness and detachment go hand in hand. You may not forget the hurt, but you can choose to rise above it. You can choose to say, I release this pain. I will not let it control me. I will love my children, but I will not beg for their love. My peace comes from God. That mindset keeps your spirit clean, your heart soft, and your dignity strong. So let go, not of your love, but of the chains of expectation. Detach, not with anger, but with wisdom. And as you do, you will find a strength that is unshakable, a peace that no one can take, and a love that flows from a higher place than human recognition. That is the power of detaching without bitterness, rediscovering yourself beyond motherhood. For so many years, your life has revolved around your children. From the moment they entered the world, every thought, every sacrifice, every choice was made with them in mind. You put your dreams on hold, gave up certain opportunities, and carried responsibilities that others could never imagine, all because your children came first. And while this is a beautiful expression of love, there comes a time when you must look in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I beyond being a mother? The truth is, while motherhood is a sacred calling, it is not the entirety of who you are. God did not create you only to cook meals, clean houses, or wipe away tears. Those roles are honorable, yes, but they do not define the fullness of your existence. You are also a woman with passions, talents, and a divine purpose that stretches far beyond the walls of your home. You are a soul placed on this earth with gifts to offer, not just to your children, but to the world. When children do not value their mothers, it can feel like your entire identity is crumbling. But perhaps what is really happening is that life is calling you back to yourself. It is an invitation to rediscover the woman behind the title mother. Maybe there are dreams you once tucked away, books you wanted to read, places you wanted to see, skills you wanted to learn, or passions you wanted to pursue. Now is the time to breathe life into them again. Rediscovering yourself does not mean you stop loving your children. It means you love yourself enough to nurture your own soul. When you grow, when you shine, when you become whole within yourself, you set a powerful example, not just for your children, but for everyone around you. A mother who knows her worth, who walks with confidence, and who invests in her own growth becomes a living testimony of strength and dignity. Think about this. If you pour endlessly into others but never into yourself, eventually your well runs dry. But when you refill your own spirit, when you pursue your own calling, you overflow with even greater love and wisdom. You cannot control whether your children value you, but you can control whether you value yourself. And when you do, you rise into the fullness of the person God designed you to be. This is also a spiritual journey. As you step back from constantly trying to prove your love to your children, you step closer to the one who already knows your worth. Spend time in prayer, meditation, and self-reflection. Ask God to show you who you are in His eyes. Ask Him to remind you of the dreams He planted in your heart long before motherhood began. In that rediscovery, you will find peace, joy, and strength that no human validation could ever give. So, my dear mother, do not lose yourself in the shadows of ungratefulness. Rise, grow, create, learn, explore, become. Rediscover yourself beyond motherhood. Because when you value yourself, you no longer live waiting for others to recognize you. You live fully, freely, and divinely as the woman God intended you to be. The spiritual awakening of a mother's soul. There comes a moment in every mother's life when her heart reaches a breaking point. The tears she once hid flow freely, the questions grow louder, and the pain of feeling unvalued becomes almost unbearable. But often, that breaking point is not the end. It is the beginning of a new awakening. It is the moment God calls you closer, reminding you that the love you long for in your children is only a shadow of the perfect love He has for you. When your children fail to value you, it feels as if your identity is slipping away. But this is where the awakening begins. You realize that your true identity is not anchored in what your children think, say, or do. It is anchored in God. He is the one who formed you, who gave you the strength to carry life, and who entrusted you with the sacred role of motherhood. He sees every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every prayer whispered in silence. And He whispers back, "My daughter, I see you. I love you. You are enough." This spiritual awakening is a shift in perspective. It is the realization that while children may forget, God never forgets. While people may overlook your worth, heaven records every act of love. While the world may measure value by applause and recognition, God measures it by faithfulness and sacrifice. And by that measure, you are priceless. When you awaken to this truth, you stop searching for validation in the wrong places. You no longer beg for appreciation from those who cannot see your worth. Instead, you begin to rest in God's love. You begin to pour your heart into Him, trusting that He will heal the wounds your children cannot. And in that surrender, a new peace rises, a peace that surpasses all understanding. This awakening also strengthens your prayers. A mother's prayer is one of the most powerful forces on earth, and when it comes from a place of faith instead of desperation, it carries an unstoppable power. Even if your children wander far, even if they turn their backs on you, your prayers can still reach them where your hands cannot. A spiritually awakened mother does not waste her energy chasing love. She invests it in prayer, knowing that God can do what she cannot. And here is the beauty of this awakening. As you lean into God's love, you begin to radiate strength. Your children may not see it right away, but they will feel it. They will sense the unshakable calm within you, the dignity with which you carry yourself, the divine light that cannot be dimmed by rejection. In time, that very light may be what leads them back to gratitude, respect, and love. So embrace this awakening. Let the pain of feeling undervalued drive you into the arms of God. Let it refine you, not define you. Let it make you stronger, wiser, and more radiant. Because a spiritually awakened mother is not broken by neglect. She is lifted by divine love. And in her awakening, she becomes unstoppable, a mother's unshakable worth. To every mother listening right now, I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and remember this truth. Your worth is unshakable. It is not tied to whether your children honor you today, whether they acknowledge your sacrifices, or whether they express their gratitude. Your worth does not rise and fall with their moods, choices, or recognition. Your worth was established long before they were born by the very God who created you. You see, society often paints a picture that a mother's value lies only in how her children turn out. If they are successful, people praise her. If they fail, people blame her. But this is a lie that traps mothers in cycles of guilt, shame, and self-doubt. Your value is not dependent on the outcome of your children's lives. You were valuable the moment God breathed life into you, and that value has never changed. Yes, your sacrifices matter. Yes, your love matters. But even when those sacrifices go unnoticed, even when that love is not returned, you remain priceless. Do not allow anyone, not even your own children, to make you forget that. If they do not see your worth today, it does not mean you are worthless. It only means they are not yet awake enough to recognize the treasure they have been given. This is why you must stand tall, walk with dignity, refuse to let rejection shrink you, refuse to let ingratitude silence your voice. You are more than a caretaker, more than a provider, more than a background character in your children's story. You are a woman of resilience, a pillar of strength, and a vessel of divine love. You carry within you the wisdom of generations, the prayers of a warrior, and the heart of a nurturer. That is who you are, and nothing can take that away. One day, your children may come to realize the depth of your sacrifices. Life has a way of opening eyes that were once blind. They may look back and remember the meals, the lessons, the prayers, the moments of unconditional support. But even if that day takes time, or even if it never comes in the way you hoped, you cannot let your peace depend on it. Your worth must never be at the mercy of someone else's recognition. Instead, anchor your worth in God's truth. He calls you chosen. He calls you beloved. He calls you strong. And if the King of the universe declares you valuable, then no human opinion can ever erase that truth. When you live from this unshakable foundation, you walk with confidence. You love freely without begging for love in return. You give generously without being drained. You pray with power without despair. You become unstoppable. So lift your head, dear mother. Straighten your back. Dry your tears. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not unloved. You are a masterpiece of God's creation, a warrior clothed in dignity, and a mother whose worth can never, ever be shaken. Stand in that truth, live in that truth, and let the world, including your children, witness the strength of a mother who knows exactly who she is Motherhood is the most sacred calling, but it is also one of the most misunderstood and underappreciated journeys a woman can walk. You give life, you nurture it, and you carry burdens that no one else can see. And yet, there are times when the very children you sacrificed for do not value you. This reality cuts deep. It feels like rejection from the very souls you loved most. But hear me clearly, this pain is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a deeper awakening. Through every tear, every sleepless night, every hidden ache, God has been shaping you. He has been teaching you that your identity is not defined by recognition, but by His eternal love. When your children fail to see your worth, it is not because you lack value. It is because their eyes are not yet open. Do not mistake their blindness for your invisibility. You are seen, you are heard, and you are celebrated in heaven. The silence of ingratitude can tempt you to grow bitter, but instead of bitterness, choose wisdom. Detach without anger, love without expectation, and pray without ceasing. Your love is not wasted. It is stored in the hearts of your children, whether they realize it now or later. Seeds take time to grow, and one day, many will look back and finally understand the treasure they had in you. Until then, walk in peace, knowing your role as a mother has already made an eternal impact. This season of feeling undervalued is also a divine invitation to rediscover yourself. You are not only a mother, you are a woman of purpose, a soul with dreams, and a vessel of divine strength. Do not lose yourself in the shadows of ingratitude. Stand tall, pursue your passions, deepen your faith. When you honor yourself, you not only heal your own soul, but you also teach your children, by example, what it means to live with dignity and self-respect. The greatest awakening you can experience as a mother is realizing that your worth does not depend on anyone's opinion. God Himself has already declared your value. He has seen every sacrifice, every act of love, and every prayer. And His voice is louder, truer, and more eternal than any human acknowledgement. When you live anchored in His love, you become unshakable. You stop waiting for recognition, and instead, you radiate strength, peace, and joy from within. So to every mother listening, lift your head high. You are not forgotten. You are not unloved. Even if your children fail to honor you today, heaven honors you. Even if the world overlooks you, God celebrates you. Your journey has not been in vain, and your worth is beyond measure. Stand in that truth. Live in that truth. And let your light shine, not just for your children, but for the world to see. Because you, dear mother, are not just valuable, you are priceless, and no lack of recognition can ever change that.